Good afternoon, good evening, joining us from around the globe. This is Talks That Teach, where ideas turned into action. And today's conversation is not just about success, it's about awareness, not just about doing more, but about becoming more. Because many people are busy, but very few are aware. So today we are going to explore stop living on autopilot, start designing your life and career. And to guide us through this powerful shift, I'm honored to welcome Karla Blanco.
Thank you so much, Nassim. It's an honor for me to join you today in Talks That Teach.
Thank you very much. She's a business consultant, author, coach, and international speaker with over 2 decades of experience working with the Fortune 500 organizations, a big number, I think, a TED Talk speaker. She helps professionals move from autopilot to awareness and from routine to purposeful design. And I'm honored that she is with me. And at this time, we are going to start a wonderful session that people will have a, you can say, the wonderful insight after that. And I am blessed with that. She shared me a book, and you can say that I have gone through few chapters of them, and they are wonderful and they have a great impact on my life. I will read the whole book and I will share the insight which I have gained over there. You have, I think, number of books over there, but I could read a few chapters of your book.
Thank you.
And Karla, what does living intentionally mean to you? I would like to start with this very interesting question. From your book, I have got this idea that one should live his life intentionally, not automatically. What do you mean by this?
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it connects with what you mentioned as an introduction of not living in autopilot, because many people just wake up, they go to work, they come back, have dinner, maybe join the family, and then go back to sleep, and on and on. And then suddenly years passed, and then they find themselves in a life that it lacks meaning and purpose. So when we have clear purpose, we can create a life of significance. And in the book Unleash Your Career Potential, what the first exercise that I put there is taking a look into your day to day. Take 7 days of a week and take a look of how are you investing your time. And then you will create like the different sections: family, faith, exercise, even lunch. Some people just skip lunch, or skip exercising or connecting with friends. When you have that, you can create, because you will have that self-awareness of, are your time investment is your time investment really getting in alignment with your purpose, or maybe you are living the plan of someone else and you really want to own and be the CEO of your life and career.
Thank you very much. And Carla, do you think people today are more busy or more aware? And what you have just told me, if they are not investing time on their own life, it may be they are wasting their life.
Yes, life is a beautiful gift, and it just spending the life without having that clarity of what you want out of life. And when you think about purpose, there are 5 questions that I usually use with my clients. Number one, who am I? Number two, what are my unique talents? Number three, who can I help with those talents? Number four, what is the problem that this person has? And number five, how the life of this person will change when they use my talents. If you take a look to the five questions, three of those refer to the other. I truly believe that we are here as a leaders in this planet to serve each other, to support each other on our growth. So that's why it's really important to question ourselves. And when we pick a job, hopefully that job aligns with our life purpose and vision.
What a message with four W's plus one H you have shared with me. Four W's plus one H. That's great.
Thank you.
And Karla, I'm curious. You have worked with, there's an acronym on your profile on LinkedIn, DISC. And why does it matter in understanding ourselves and others?
Oh, yeah. DISC is a personality framework,
Yes.
and actually, are the four different letters are related to your main personality, because at the end of the day, we all have the different personalities, and ideally, when someone takes this test, they usually get one or two main personalities. But when you provide the test, or a senior leader take the test, usually you will see that they have the four personalities, because leadership is situational. And you really need to communicate on how the other is communicating, which means that you will talk, it will connect to the personality of the other person so they can understand you and connect better. So it is really important that we learn about the different personalities, because that will avoid clashes, unnecessary conflict. We really need to learn to listen more than speaking. That's why we have two ears and one mouth. And that way, when you listen not only to the words but the context of the message, the content of the message, the things that are not said, you will learn how you are communicating. And I will give you an example. In my last team working in a global corporation, we were going through a layoff. It was a difficult process for all of us, and we were delivering a project. I do recall connecting with one of my team members, and I asked her about the project, how is everything going? So regular connection at the beginning, how are you, etc. We move into the project, and I was seeing on the screen, watching her face, she was stressed out, and I could tell. So I told her, what is going on? Because you told me that everything is okay, but I see. And she started crying. She started crying because, of course, being in a process that she could lose her job. She was delivering the results, but she was not good inside. So just by pausing and connecting with her and using coaching techniques, asking her, what are the worst scenario on this situation, what you can do, and identifying potential alternatives, really gave her peace of mind. She was not impacted by that layoff, but she was being under stress. And I think we don't understand the real impact that stress generates in our health and in our lives. So we really need to ensure that we are listening to each other. And that's why DISC, that framework of personalities, is really helpful, or any framework of personalities. But you really, as a leader, really need to understand how to connect better with with your people.
Right. And in a last session, you were talking about your dress that have a great impact.
Oh yes, that was not a positive impact. And I can share about it. And actually, that was at the beginning of my career, when you don't know what you don't know, really. And as I love color, I was sharing in that session that by presenting every month to the general manager, that was really painful because that general manager always have very harsh comments, and we were not able to communicate with each other until I asked a mentor who gave me the insight that maybe my colors were distracting her because the way she dressed is blue. She used just blue, gray, and black, and I was bringing a hot pink, red, yellow, and all that. And he told me, you may be distracting her. And I adjusted, and it was amazing. So that's something that we all need to learn. We have unconscious biases from where we were born, our families' beliefs, etc. So we really need to be self aware.
It means we should be aware about our context and content.
Yeah,
Sometimes your words may have a different meaning in another culture, and maybe distracting and disturbing for others. It's a
exactly.
great thing I have learned with the passage of time. Maybe your words are hurting. I was in a session for a few days. At the end of the session, I asked if I hurt someone. I really apologize. It was a, you can say, the informal sessions in between. One of the lady, you can say, wearing a veil, got up and go to the mic. She said, "If you can say that never came over here, I would not, you can say, spare you in your life. I will not forgive you." I asked that gentle lady, "I haven't even talked to you." She said, "One day my husband was over in a presentation and you commented in not a good way. He was one of my friends. I was just encouraging him in a very funny way. I didn't know that he was a husband of her. And in unconscious moments, we may hurt people. We should be aware of our context and content.
Yeah.
That's great. So Carla, maybe some one who is listening later our you can say the recording, if they have some question about that framework, if they want to go through that framework, uh, would they get some questions from you after that? If they have some questions, how to go through that framework that you are talking about this to understand their personality and to make their communication better?
Yes, actually, I am a disc consultant and I will be happy to support anyone. Yeah, they can connect on LinkedIn as Karla Blanco Coach, Karla with a K, or Instagram.
I will share your link as well in the
Thank you.
chat. But if someone would like to get it free of cost in the beginning,
Yes, yes, I completely agree with you. I will create a post on that. Thank you for inspiring that.
thank you very much. Okay. In one of your chapters, I had read about the mirror. And later on, I got the concept that marriage is not a physical mirror. It's look into yourself. That was wonderful. Why do you think people avoid looking into their inner mirror? Yeah, you can say inner self. Even they feel something is missing.
Yes, that is something. If you are living a life where you have found yourself in those routines that we mentioned at the beginning, you are probably not looking enough in the mirror. It is really important to connect with our essence, to understand who am I, what are my beliefs, understanding that the world is a beautiful place, and that when you bring the perspectives of others, you will enrich your life. Don't look into the world from fear, look into the world from curiosity. So when you take a look into your mirror, it will be important to assess, are you happy with your life? Are you thriving or are you surviving? That is critical. And once you have that clarity from that assessment that I mentioned at the beginning, you can start designing your life. Design your calendar and your agenda in a way that will support your goals, will support your dreams. Because if you keep living in that trap of just working, etc., with not intentionality, years will pass and you will miss an amazing gift. It is like a seed that was in a box full of potential, but didn't grow. It didn't become the full potential of the gift that is life.
Thank you very much. It resonates me with me as well as I think with many people. And you can say rhyming words time and again, thriving, surviving. It has a great impact even on the listeners.
Yeah.
You are, you can say, well versed in this technique. I don't know from where you have learned this. How you can say the when you use rhyming words, it has a greater impact on the listeners as well.
Yes.
Karla, how can someone begin to reflect or to get reflection in simple yet honest way, in a transformative way, in his or her daily life?
Yeah, it would be taking a look into who surrounds them. We reflect the five people that surround us. So, are we happy with the reality that we are creating? It is difficult for people to many times to understand that we create our own reality. And that reality is that reflection of how you are showing up to the world. So if you are not satisfied with your reality, take a look of how you are positioning yourselves, how are you connecting with others, and who are those others, because they will influence the way you think, the way you act. So it's really important to assess your current reality and to imagine what do you want to create in life, so that you can start creating a plan that directs your life instead of being victim of the circumstances. And I know there are very difficult circumstances that is really hard many times, but we need to take ownership, and a way to take ownership is also asking for help.
Right. As you was talking about the people who are surrounding, make it help the someone to reflect, or you can say the ponder. And I have observed something. Sometimes people externally look very pleasant, delightful, and you can say they're satisfied with their life, but internally they lead a disconnected and fragmented life. Can external success actually hide a lack of self awareness and purpose?
For just a period of time, and I would say I'm doing this because it's a little, and you can see that in many leaders that in the world, they may have gone up in the ladder and get all these flashlights, etc., but if that is not grounded in a purpose, and they don't have alignment with their values, you will see them. Life is full of wisdom, and it life find ways for leaders to learn, because it is about learning and growing. So I will say that you can find someone that is brilliant intellectually, but if this person doesn't treat others well, they can go up to a point, but then you will see that life will find a way to teach them a lesson on we are all connected in this planet.
It's better to learn a lesson before life is going to teach a lesson.
I agree with you.
Otherwise,
It's hard.
it teaches in a very harsh way,
Uh-huh.
and you can say the become a lesson for others as well.
Yes.
So let's go a little deeper into that. You can say the internal space that we are talking about. What role does that pausing play in helping someone reconnect with their true, you can say, the direction and purpose of life?
First of all, the person needs to be open, needs to understand that they don't have all the answers. And I think as we grow in life, we learn that. But you can see behaviors on junior people and senior people. Usually, junior people feel this pressure that they need to demonstrate that they have all the answers, that they know everything, and that it is like getting in your own way. Because if you think that you need to provide all the answers and that you know everything, that will take you to a certain point, but then you can get stuck until you learn that you won't continue growing until you embrace the knowledge of mentors, the knowledge of coaches, well, and what I called a board of advisors in our lives, which are that people that if we intentionally look for help, we will accelerate our growth.
Right. And how can we judge that we have to need to go for a board of advisors? And one more thing, that when you are talking about the junior and senior people, it means experience and less experienced people.
Yes, thank you for clarifying. And you will see that junior people, when people enter the workforce, usually you see a lot of competition right there. But then when they are growing, people that are more senior and have more experience, or they are in higher ranks of leadership, they get up because they learn that the way to getting up is collaboration. There will be few that could be like these intelligent people that will go up further and faster with less help. But again, life will help them understand that life is about collaboration. But when you are entering the workforce, if you were not if you didn't grow in a community or in a family that fosters that collaboration, probably that's something that is not natural to you, but you need to embrace it in order to accelerate and become from junior to senior.
Right. Thank you very much. And in sometimes we feel in some stressful situations, just like you can say the people who enter just in their new phase, a phase of you can say job or something else. In a stressful situation, sometimes they emotionally react. We normally in our life react sometime emotionally. How can becoming an observer of shift from emotional reactions to you can say conscious responses? How can we do that?
I love that question. Actually, and in the book, there is a section focused on emotion management, and there are plenty of books. And there is you feel the emotion in your body, so we gotta tune in with our emotions so we can manage them, and the emotions don't manage us. So when you feel that emotion, you have some seconds, and this happens in different part of the brain. So you process the emotion and it becomes a feeling. Of course, all this is really fast, but when you pay attention and you analyze in which situations I react one way or the other, and we usually react the same way our parents or where we grew, that environment dictates how we react. But if you start observing that, making an analysis, you need to understand that you can transform those emotions in different feelings. And I will give you an example. Let's say that I go and make a presentation in a field with 5,000 people or 10,000 people, and I'm about to get to the stage, and I feel this stress out of meeting all these many people. Well, I can, the same thing is from, you feel the same in your body from fear or excitement. So what I tell myself is really important. That stories we tell ourselves. So I can say, I'm so excited to share with all these people this content that I hope it serves them. It really helps. So you start creating that, you are changing instead of this fear and I can get paralyzed and I can stop. So really it is about tuning with your body, understand and create the stories you want to tell to your brain and body. So provide direction to this amazing tool. which is the brain.
Thank you. Once I read a book by Goldman, first ever, that was about emotional intelligence that have a great impact on my life. I have a 6 month practice with my teacher, that is Moise Amjad. He's a wonderful personality. And you can say, shifted my paradigm of life in a way. Still, I'm working. I am not a perfect. I am still working. I have to work on it,
We
but
need
it
to.
is quite difficult to have a distinction between emotions and feelings.
Yes, and it happens so fast. So we really, really, really need to tune in with what I'm telling you about your body and learn the language of emotions. We usually don't do that, but learning and calling the name of the emotion really help us become smarter about them.
Yes. We have to give the title of our emotions. Okay, for
Exactly.
my audience, what is the deeper difference between reacting automatically and responding intentionally in context of emotions and feelings?
Pause. That is a secret. Always pause. And for example, if we are in a difficult situation with someone can't handle their emotions, we are entitled to tell the person, can we pause and talk about this later? If the person keep raising their voice or they become more aggressive, we are entitled to say, excuse me, I cannot talk in this environment. I would like to have a different conversation at another time. Respect is critical for me. So that will make them aware. Always feel empowered to ask for respect or to create. We are the ones that create that environment. When you don't engage in that violent communication or when someone is raising the voice, we are the ones creating the change in the room.
In your book, you can say in chapter 4, I learned something career by design in this way. It may be the repetition of my, you can say, the previous words. Many professionals, you can say, are busy meeting their deadlines, responsibilities, but they have never intentionally designed their own career path. Carla, why do you think so many people work hard but never design their careers intentionally? What is the reason behind this?
Well, I think is we don't know what we don't know. People that accelerate and get the best results are the ones that live a life by design, organizing their days, organizing, thinking about, for example, where I want to get in 10 years, in 5 years, the next year, what I need to do to get ahead of that. So people that are intentional are the ones that get the best results. If you are coasting, you are not growing.
Right, right. That's powerful. That's great. What is the first step? And you can say, if someone is listening to us, what is the first step someone should take to start designing their career?
What I will say is that you can think, and I will give you different periods, but let's think about the next 10 years. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And don't be shy. Please go ahead and think big. From that, where do you need to be in the next 5 years? And then just create three specific goals for the next year that kind it really moves you towards that direction. And I will share a story. When I created this 1 5 10 plan, this was in 2012. It was after watching that layoffs, reorganizations were happening in the company. So I told my boss, who was the director for Latin America, I would like your position in the future. So that was my 10 years. That meant 2022. So he started engaging, helping me to connect with people in Latin America. I was in Costa Rica and connecting me with projects, etc. So that was the first year. So actually, what I wanted is a global position in 10 years. In 5 years, I wanted his position. But what happened is he left in the following year. Did I get that position? No. It was another colleague from the region, but that colleague left in less than a year. So I was the next one. So I became a regional director within 3 years instead of five. And what happened is that the global position came within 5 years. When you write down your goals and what you want and create your plan, you are providing direction to your brain. It's not like the magic and all that stuff. Is that your brain needs direction. And just writing down your goals, you are providing that direction.
You are under the supervision of leaders. They have a great impact on you. And I expect the same thing from you, getting the advantage of this podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Carla, we are bound by the boundaries of patterns we live in. Your thoughts are wonderful, but we are in the chains of our patterns. It's not easy. Could you help us understand what career cycles really are and why recognizing them can be so important for, you can say, long term growth?
Yeah, that is part of the self awareness. And I will give you like two answers or two-part answer because if you are starting your career, it's about probably you don't have those cycles that you can refer to your past life because you are starting maybe it's your first job. So create your plan and for that continue. But I would say every year, every 3 years, and every 5 years, take a look backwards because that will give you some insights of how are you designing your life and what are the impacts that you have. We humans usually have cycles. And when I did this exercise, I learned that my cycles were like 7 to 8 years, and I broke that rule. And that's the power of being aware because I was in the same position for 7 years, another 7 years, but then I decided that I wanted a more rich learnings, which meant that I started changing every 2 years, and it provided me more perspective of different things. That is a personal choice, but you really gotta take a look backwards and understand what are those. And in the book, I also remind people that we are not just a worker or a person that just have a job. We are we have a family, we have careers, we and then identifying important milestones in your life, like getting a graduation from university, having a baby, getting married, having a baby, etc. Those things are important to understand, looking at life as a whole, so that you can make conscious decisions on where do you want to move forward.
You are sharing such wonderful wisdom that
Thank you.
I'm thinking at the right moment that shouldn't we have a workshop for it? It will be a blessing for others. Okay,
Thank you.
later on we can discuss if it may be possible or not because you have a busy schedule. Carla, I have read in your one of the chapters you were talking about that it is very critical to align personal values with the company or institution values. Uh, Make a difference between personal values. I couldn't understand personal values. How can we align with company values?
Uh-huh. Well, it is so important, and I will give you a very personal example, and I write about it in the book very openly and kindly, very openly. I could not work in a company, and this is, I hope I don't hurt anyone, in a company that their business is cigarettes. Because at this moment in life, we know that cigarettes really hurts the health from the moment you put a cigarette in your mouth. So that is not aligned with my value how I value life. So it is important that you take a look how is the culture of the company and why what they value. Do they value collaboration? Do they value innovation, growing, etc.? Otherwise, you won't have a really nice career, and people don't flourish when they lack that alignment. Because and life is so short and so beautiful that we need to pick those places where we will flourish. And but it starts with learning and deciding what do I value in life, what are my core values, so I when I find a job I can connect with the values of the company, and that will make you create a bigger impact in your job and probably accelerate your career towards leadership positions.
Right. It's the first ever in my life. You can say that make myself clear in this way. It's a great way if your values and company values are aligned, you accelerate your growth. It
Yes,
helps you to move ahead. Otherwise, you are moving in another direction. Company is dragging to you another direction. You are nowhere in
exactly.
this way. That's great. And Carla, why do many people believe that they have to grow alone? And how does this belief limit their potentials?
Well, I will be very candid and transparent, sharing that I was one of those. I am an introvert. So for me, being at home alone, that is my happy place. And I learned when I started, my being working in a company, I do recall people telling me, "You got to network, go network," and I that was so I didn't enjoy that because of my being an introvert and valuing being home. So I missed many opportunities just by not attending the after hours conference. For example, if there is a dinner after a conference, I represented the company in board of directors in industries chamber. And for example, there they had a dinner after the session of the board of directors. And skip those dinners and all that. Later I understood that I was getting in my own way because I learned that the big decisions are made in those dinners, in those sessions that are after. That's why that exists, because it creates a different environment where people can connect with each other. And when we connect with each other, we spark new ideas. Ideas are enhanced, and then we get innovations. So I will tell you that probably the first 7 years of my career, I didn't realize that. And I listened to that people that told me, go network. Like, oh my God, really? but but then I learned and I leveraged that value. And that's why we are sitting here, Nassim, because we connected in from another network, and that made possible for us to be sitting here today.
Right. It means type of connections matter a lot in our lives.
It does, yeah.
In my colleagues in my college, there are more than 200 professors in that college. It's a long chain, and you can say five branches over in one city, girls and boys and all that. Only I am, you can say, doing such kind of podcast. And people ask me, what you earn from this? This is the main question. I do not earn in the terms of coins and the currencies. My values are my, you can say, my currency is my connections.
Yeah, it indeed. Hmm.
If I was not, you can say, such type of person, I may not connect you in my life. And it's a great thing that Mr. Emmanuel, I think, first ever connected me. And
Yeah,
I'm really thankful to that person.
yeah. Emmanuel is an amazing global coach and leader that really helped us connecting with each other in this great community he created.
In the beginning, you can say that sometimes when I was in different sessions as a guest speaker, or in the beginning I was a special speaker, I feel quite disturbance while preparing my, you can say, the context and such kind of things, because you can say global leaders were in the same frame, and they have a lot of things. You are author, coach, and so many things. On my end, I am not an author. How to face such kind of things? You haven't need to prepare something, because you are author. You have written 233 unwritten rules as well, so many books, TED talks. You can go and present over there, but it takes time for me. He guided me how to. I requested him. I have a special session with him. He spared some time for me. Then
Nice.
I feel quite easy with the passage of time. I think your mess. And one thing more, you can see that when I go into classrooms, as in some girls' classes, some girls are quite introvert without any reason. They do not share, and I try to make them at the, you can say, voice classes. I try to make them communicate and link with others. Sometimes I indirectly ask some other students to take them in the ground, to take them the canteen. You can offer this something to make them play football or something like that. And with the passage of time, some are changed over there. I will get some idea how to contribute in this direction. It's a wonderful thing that is going on. So let's make this idea what you are talking about a little bit more practical. What is the difference between having a network and having a true board of advisors?
Yes, it is not about the quantity of people you have in your network, it's about the quality of those relationships. And that start from ourselves on how we nurture those relationships. That is critical. There are many studies about this, and basically when you really reach out, for example, I had one of my sponsors on my careers when I got the position for Latin America. The sponsor was the general manager. He asked me, are you going to apply to this position? And I was like, no, I'm not ready, because usually we women tend to think that we need to have all the requirements in order to apply for a position. But that he told me the worst thing that can happen is that you learn in the process. And that inspired me. I moved forward. I got the position. There were 7 wonderful years, my golden years, I will say, and I kept the relationship. He left the country because he lives in nowadays in US, and we kept that connection throughout the years. At least once a year, we connected to catch up on how are you doing, etc. And whenever he needed something or I needed, because the relationships are in 2 ways, think in a way that you can support your mentor, that you can support your sponsor, because you really need to nurture those relationships. Many times, even providing feedback, stop and and send a message. How are you doing, Nasim? How is life going? And there may be something that you may need that your mentee can help you, which was my situation when I moved into the US. I had a mentee in Costa Rica, and she moved before me into the like 3 years before. When I came into the US, I lost my job. And then she, the one that was my mentee in Costa Rica, was the one that opened doors for me to connect with other leaders because she already had her network here in the US. So really think about growing together.
Right. That's wonderful. The quality of a relationship, and it is a two-way relationship.
Exactly.
That's wonderful. Just you have mentioned you was hesitant to take the position. Why do people hesitate to ask for help, even they know that they need it? You can say that critically for the help. And how can they shift to word clear communications?
Yes, actually, asking for help is not weakness. That is the first thing we need to learn. And again, at the beginning of your career, you probably don't know that, and you think that you need to prove that you know everything and that you are right, etc. But actually, asking for help is leadership. Asking because we need to learn that we are here as a lifelong learners, so we don't need to have all the answers. If we leverage the power of the knowledge of all that are around us, we will be unstoppable. So that's the number one thing. Please think and analyze how are you behaving and showing up as someone humble that connect with others and grow together, or someone that think that have all the answers and try um, to do things their way and the only way. So you have those type of people, one that will go up further and faster, and the other that will get stagnate at a point.
Right. So for you can see the someone listening right now us, how can someone start building their board of advisors even with limited connections? I
Yeah,
think board of advisors is most important thing in our life.
I agree with you. So the way to do it is take a look. You probably have nowadays people in your board of advisors, but you probably didn't know about its concept, or if you knew, maybe you didn't consider that person as a mentor. But think about what are those five to 10 people that you really need to have in your life. So think about who is providing you coaching. Coaches are the people that ask meaningful questions to us and help us craft the answers or take the answer from our inside out by asking questions. Mentors will be those that are ahead of us and they have the experience, so they can help us with their experience. Then you need to have a scolder. A scolder is a person that will tell you the truth in a compassionate way. So they will tell you you are doing this in a way that it could be better this other way, or look at this example, but they will tell us the truth in that way. A strategist will be a person that if you have a challenge, you sit with them and you together create a strategy. You need an ally, which is the person that will be hand by hand with you, raising the voice, not for you, but with you. And then the sponsor is the person that will talk about your accomplishments and everything that you can bring to the table in the rooms that you are not. So think about those roles, put names next to them, and if you need additional people, go ahead, connect in LinkedIn, connect in the company where you are working, the university or organization, and start building those relationships. Set up 15 minutes every Friday. Just 15 minutes will give you a lot of value by the end of the year. And feel free to connect with people on LinkedIn. Doesn't matter if it's a CEO, vice president, or whoever. People usually are open to connect with others.
Carla, as someone said, when you are in the company of people who like, whom you like, and in the company of wisdom, time have wings to fly.
Yeah.
And same is the case with me here. We have, you can say, the consumed 50 minutes, but it looked like to me just 5 minutes. We are going to wrap in, you can say, few moments later. Uh, but you have talked, right, you can say, for the last minutes. What mindset shift is needed to understand that success is collaborative?
Well, what I will tell you is just taking a look into how you will create the life you want and deserve, not be living in autopilot. So I will close with what we started of create a life that is by design supporting your purpose in life, and go off and do something wonderful. These are not my words, these are words from one of the founders of Intel Corporation. Go off and do something wonderful. I love those words. And so that is my invitation to the audience.
Right. If someone listening today feels stuck, what is one action they should take immediately after listening your talk?
Define where you want to go, create your plan, and ask for help.
Right. Carla, this is an amazing talk that I had with you and truly insightful. Today's conversation reminds us awareness creates clarity, and clarity creates, you can see, the direction. Direction creates transformation. We move from autopilot to awareness, from routine to purpose, from motion to meaning, and to everyone listening. When you learn to see yourself clearly, you have a clear goal and purpose of your life. If you can, so audience are from the globe, if they have some questions, you can put under the video, and we will love to respond to you. I will share you Carla Blanco's link of Facebook as well as LinkedIn. You can directly connect with her, and maybe you can get some. You can see the wonderful insights of your life, and you can change your life in a better way. Thank you, Carla. I would love to have you so many times on this podcast, but if your time allows you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Nassim, for these talks, and nice to connect with you again. Have a
Thank
wonderful day.
thank you. Thank you.